I recently helped a business owner get back 2 hours of his time by implementing a single standard operating procedure in his plumbing business. And it only took him 15 minutes to build. In this video, I want to share a couple insights on how you can create simple standard operating procedures with AI in just a couple minutes to make your team a lot more independent right away so you can have more time to work on strategic growth. In this video, we're going to walk through some of the key obstacles I see a lot of business owners struggle with in terms of implementing SOPs or standard operating procedures, and how you can create a more sustainable path to creating SOPs so that you can stop being the bottleneck in the business with people coming to you with questions and problems that you need solving all the time. My name is Fyfe Barraclough. I help business owner dads grow their companies so they're not trapped in the day-to-day operations, so they can spend a little bit more time at home on their passions, on their hobbies, and mainly just spending time with their families and their kids. So if you're a business owner dad or a business owner in general, and you're feeling overwhelmed with the idea of creating standard operating procedures, you're not alone. This is something I see time and time again as something that business owners avoid because it takes a lot of time and effort. And that really holds them back from creating a more sustainable, scalable, growth-oriented business. For most trades business owners, the idea of this is really hard because it's a very non-urgent type of work that gets pushed aside to deal with the day-to-day operations. And trying to have a system and get the system right to create good SOPs and store them out really adds to the stress. So some of the things you might be noticing if you don't have this in place, you're constantly stuck in urgent work and never freeing yourself up for the strategic type of growth work, like building systems and really getting yourself out of the day-to-day. You're a bottleneck because the business and the employees are constantly coming to you for answers because you are the guy that knows all the answers and they don't have them. So you're constantly interrupted. You're constantly in this reactive state of problem solving for other people. And every time you bring on somebody new, you are very hands-on, training them exactly how to do the things in the business because you don't have a system that trains them for you. So a couple things with benefits here. Why is this so important? If you're listening to this, you might already know this, but I really want to highlight this. When things are really easily documented, people can find it and just do it on their own. They don't need you to walk them through each step of delegation. They can actually just be told what to do and where to find the information to get the job done. So delegation becomes a lot easier. On a larger term scale, you actually become a lot more attractive to buyers because there is a process for how the business runs. So if a new buyer comes in and you lose a key employee, or they need to learn how to do something as a new business owner, they can do that. They're not reliant on you, the past business owner, to come back in and solve everything. So you become a lot more attractive as a systematic business or an asset that somebody could buy. And then third, growth becomes a lot easier. It's a lot smoother when you can onboard people faster. People are a lot more aligned on the tasks and how to do something. And there's usually a single source of truth about how you do something in the business. And I look at this like a domino effect. There's usually a way that when people first start with SOPs, standard operating procedures, the first domino is just getting started with building one. And that means you usually have fewer interruptions once that SOP is in place, which opens you up for more time for strategic growth, which systemizes your business, and you have a more resilient, scalable business. So this domino effect, I like this image that I'll place in here, and it just really helps make sense of the impact that this has over time. So the game changer now is we have AI. It's so much easier to create SOPs using AI to streamline and structure the written and video components, and using screen recording tools. So in the last, year or 2 years, it's all of a sudden become so much easier to document your business processes. So picture yourself recording something for 5 to 10 minutes, never having to explain it again, and just offloading that to your team because there's a documented system for them to follow. You can save a ton of time. One of my clients did this. We started with one single SOP for quoting in his business. It took him about 15 to 20 minutes to build out the process. And he's now offloaded part of his quoting to an employee And that has opened up about 2 hours a week. And that was just one part of quoting that he's doing. So you can imagine as we start to offload and train that person with other SOPs on other parts of quoting, it becomes a significant time gain for him as a business owner. And as a business starts to grow, now he has this library to train another salesperson or another person to do estimating and quoting. So the key here is we started really small. We started with a small win. What's one small thing to offload? Build some progress, build some momentum. And now he's opened up a little bit more time to build more SOPs, to delegate more of the tasks that he's already doing. And once he's starting to build this process, the next step for us, which we haven't actually got to yet, is building an SOP or a standard operating procedure for his team to build their own SOPs. So you can create a systemized way for the team to build their own processes so that if somebody leaves their position, they've built a bit of a library about how to train the new person that's going to step into their role. And that, again, becomes a very valuable asset. So a step-by-step guide here in terms of where to start. So first is start with easy, fast wins. It's really easy to get overwhelmed and complicate this and try and focus on the biggest ROI right away. And that usually puts people into avoiding it or procrastinating on actually starting. So I usually start with something with clients that's really fast and easy that opens up half an hour to an hour of your time each week. Make it something simple, make it something that's easy for you to document and easy for you to delegate. So the key here is you want to find these quick wins to reinforce that this is something that's really helpful for you in the business long term. And as you offload that first thing, you build that first one, really celebrate the fact that you've built and offloaded something and you're building this library, because you want to build and have a bit of that dopamine hit that you are building this system for yourself. And that reinforces you doing it again and again. And this is a big part of tiny habits and creating systems for yourself about how to stay motivated and keep focusing on progression rather than getting stuck on something big. So that's the first one. So once you've built out an SOP that's simple and easy win, then you start to look at what's going to be the biggest focus for ROI on your time as a business owner. The key here is we want to open up your time so that you can help your team build more and more. So you're going to look at a lot of the roadblocks of what's eating up your time, where are all the interruptions going, what are the things you're having to teach people over and over again, or just do yourself over and over again. Again, in the context of this client, they were doing a lot of sales and quoting still. So we're chipping away at having them move out of that. Maybe not entirely, but a lot of it. Once you've opened up a bunch of your time, then you can start to focus on your team because you'll have more capacity to help your team focus on their big roadblocks. So there's two key places in order to build SOPs really in a trades or home service-based business. And this applies to businesses outside of that scope as well. The first is screen recording. So that's anything you're doing on the computer. You can use something like Loom. It might be quoting, pricing jobs, handling email communications that you offload to an executive assistant, managing customer service tickets, things like that. And that's really easy to do online. There's lots of easy transcription services like Loom. Very easy to offload. The second is more field work, and there are more and more apps popping up that allow you to film on your iPhone, that document the video, and that creates the transcript that you can use to build out the SOP. So the step-by-step here is you need to document the thing using video. With AI now, there are transcripts that are automatically created based on that video. And then you feed that transcript into something like ChatGPT and say, create a standard operating procedure based on this video. And I've got a prompt below that you can use if you'd like. And once you have the transcript, you have essentially your operating procedure that you can offload, because AI is just going to document it and systemize it so you can hand it off to your team. A big miss, though, is making sure you follow up with your team to make sure that that process had everything in it. So as they go through it, or you walk them through it for the first time, just check to make sure that there was nothing missed. And if there is, the team or you can add as you go. So overall, SOPs are a game changer. They can get you out of the daily grind, make you more resilient, make you a more attractive business to purchase from potential buyers, and allows you to be more positioned for growth as well. You don't need a perfect library. You don't need the perfect system. The biggest thing here is momentum and progression. So just start. And this other image is one that I think is awesome. It just shows how much you need to invest time for there to be a payoff. So you can see here in this graph on the red line, that's the amount of time that you invest. And then as you start to build your SOPs at the start, there's a bunch of time saved, and that starts to go up with as time invested goes down. And at a certain point, once that implementation of the SOP is really initiated in the business, there's a break-even point, and then all of a sudden it becomes so much more worthwhile for you to have these SOPs. But the hardest part for business owners is these first 3 steps: the start, the initial creation, and then the implementation before you see that payoff. So it's hard to see that feedback loop early on with big items, which is why I say start with the small wins. So again, if you're ready to free yourself from constant firefighting, please, please, please start to build this into your business. It can be really hard to make time for it, but it's extremely valuable, and have fun with it. For more growth tips, hit subscribe, check out the next video. Here to support you. Take care.